If we change one ingredient, it changes everything. One. My name is Dan Richer. I own a pizzeria called Razza in Jersey City, New Jersey. It's showtime. As soon as I see that browning, I'm moving. Dough is alive. It's very temperature sensitive. Structural integrity. I'm Dan Richer. I'm here at Ooni HQ, and this is how to make a whole wheat pizza. Today we're gonna make whole wheat pizza dough. I love making whole wheat pizza dough because it tastes good. It's also more nutritious, which you can't beat that. Pre-industrialization, there was no white flour, it was all whole wheat flour. We're gonna blend regular white flour that anybody can get at any supermarket with a little bit of whole wheat flour for nutrition and for flavor. And before we start mixing anything, we're gonna take our temperatures. Flour temperature is 66 degrees, and we can actually control our dough temperature based on what water temperature we use. We're shooting for 70 degrees to be our final dough temperature. This recipe happens to be very, very flexible, so it doesn't really matter, but you should measure your temperatures, get in the habit. It's just a good practice. So we have 700 grams of water that we're gonna add to our mixing bowl. We're using instant yeast for this. You can get it at any supermarket. It's very easy and flexible. We're gonna add the instant yeast directly to our flour. There's actually more active yeast cells in instant yeast than there are in active dry. So instant is great because you just mix it into the flour and call it a day. Okay, so we have 3 grams of instant yeast, and we have our whole wheat flour and our all-purpose flour. You can also use bread flour for this recipe. It's that flexible. Once we're done mixing this pizza dough, we want it to be 70 degrees, and then the recipe should come out great. Okay, and then we're just gonna use a spoon to mix this together. We're gonna mix it until there's no dry bits of flour. Just use all of your senses. If your room is cold, if your flour is cold, use warmer water. And then we're gonna let it sit for 20 minutes. And during that resting period, also known as the autolyse, the dough is gonna actually relax during that time. So this is a hand mix, which is my preferred method of mixing dough at home. I feel like your hand needs to be trained. You need to learn the feel of the dough. And you can't really do that in a mixer. Okay, this gives you intimate knowledge about the flour, about the dough recipe, and nothing can replace that. Looks like it's supposed to look. And we're gonna grab another bowl, and we're gonna drizzle some oil in it. Just a little bit. We just want enough so that the dough doesn't stick to the bowl. And I'm gonna take my dough out and put it into the oiled container. So I'm gonna cover the dough with a towel and let it sit at room temperature for about 2 hours. The first hour, I'm gonna give it stretch and folds every 20 minutes. Because this is a hand mix, I need to develop more gluten, and we do that through stretch and folds. So it's been 20 minutes, we're ready for our first stretch and fold. And you can see how the dough has changed a little bit. It's extensible, but also elastic, which is good. We've got some great gluten development already. It means our hand mix was nice and efficient. But we are gonna do our first stretch and fold, okay? We're gonna do a coil fold here. Okay, so we're gonna grab the dough at 10 and 2, and we're gonna fold the top underneath itself. We're gonna continue that as far as it'll go, and then we turn the bowl around, and we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna pick it up, We're gonna let the front end hang, and then we're gonna fold it under itself. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? And then we're gonna give the bowl a quarter turn, and since it's the first fold, we're gonna do it from both sides. We're gonna give this dough 4 total folds during bulk fermentation. Once every 20 minutes for the first hour, and then once during the second hour. Okay, so we're 2 hours into bulk fermentation right now, and during that time, we've developed strength and structure. We've completed the development of this dough. We built strength, and that strength is super important because that's what's gonna capture the gases as yeast produce carbon dioxide. So bulk fermentation is super important for texture, but also for flavor. There's so much flavor development happening right now. We've bulk fermented for 2 hours at room temperature. That's just the start of the process. For this dough recipe, we're gonna now cover this tightly with some plastic wrap and put it in the refrigerator overnight. And that's gonna lower the dough temperature. We're still gonna have fermentation happening. It's just at a much slower rate. There's more flavor development, a little bit more gas production, and the main thing is it gives us flexibility. Okay, into the fridge for a nice, long, cold fermentation. So it's time to divide our dough. We're gonna divide this dough into 6 equal portions weighing 250 grams each. I like to use a scale here rather than doing it by eye because I like consistency and I want every single pizza to be the same exact amount of dough. Okay, so we're gonna cut off a piece, put it onto the scale. We're gonna cut off any excess. And we're gonna put it on the side. Now we're gonna roll our dough balls. We're gonna start with our piece of dough. I like to start with this top side down. And the easiest way to do this is to take one corner and fold it over itself and gently pat it in the middle. Take another side, fold it over itself, and let it stick to itself. So I'm not adding any extra flour at this time. Just pulling it, stretching it over itself, and patting it into the middle. I'm gonna do that all the way around until it starts to be nice and strong and tight. You'll feel it start to tense up. We're gonna continue to develop a little bit more surface tension by pulling it towards us and having the front of the dough stick to the table just slightly. And that's gonna cause the surface of the dough to tighten up a little bit. And we can go in the circular pattern to maintain a nice round dough ball. And repeat with the next dough ball. So we have our dough box, but you can also use a half-size sheet pan. You can use pint deli containers. But I love these boxes because they have a nice tight fitting lid, which prevents the dough from getting crusty from oxidation. I like to sprinkle just a little bit of flour on the bottom. And we're going to put 6 dough balls in this tray. So now we're gonna put the lid on and we're gonna let this sit at room temperature for 2 to 4 hours until it starts to increase in volume. We want about a 50% increase in volume on this dough recipe. You can also, at this point, put this into the refrigerator for the next day. It's that flexible of a recipe.